The ghosts of many historical figures are still said to haunt the earth. Some hang around their burial sites, while others visit their homes or other significant places from their lifetime. There are those that are more friendly or shy, while some become rather angry or violent. Almost no matter where you go, there is a chance for you to run into something spooky, especially if that place is of historical significance. The list below features 15 different ghosts that reportedly still walk among us and where to find them. If you could meet just one, who would it be? Number 15. Abigail Adams, second First Lady of the United States. Just because you are the First Lady of a brand new nation, doesn't mean you don't have chores to do. Abigail Adams is the first First Lady to live in the White House as the wife of the President of the United States. Of course, she did not do everything all by herself, but one thing she did by hand was the laundry. After washing the laundry, she would hang them out to dry in the East Room. In the 200 years since her passing, multiple patrons of the White House have claimed to see her ghost. Dressed in her traditional cap and lace shawl, she walks towards the East Room with her arms out like she is carrying a laundry basket. Some say they can even smell wet laundry and lavender when walking past the room. Number 14. Jesse James, military man and outlaw. The legend of Jesse James is synonymous with the American West. As a notorious outlaw, he and the members of his gang rode across the country robbing banks, coaches, and trains, wreaking havoc wherever they went. When the gang fell apart in the early 1880s, Jesse and his brother Frank needed a safe place to hide. The only people the James boys trusted were their friends Charlie and Robert Ford. That trust was misplaced as Robert Ford shot his friend to death on April 3, 1882 for the reward money. Since his death, his spirit along with those of his brother and mother haunts the family farm in Kearney, Missouri. Lights are seen when the property is closed to the public, and the sounds of horses' hooves and whispering voices can also be heard, when there is truly no one there. Number 13. Edward V and Richard, the Princes in the Tower. Two English princes vanished in 1483, their only crime is that they were the only thing standing in between one man and his throne. When their father King Edward IV died, their uncle Richard, Duke of Gloucester put the boys in the Tower of London to prepare Edward V for his coronation. Richard instead took the throne for himself and had the boys declared illegitimate. No one knew what happened to them until two small skeletons were discovered underneath the tower over 100 years later. Visitors to the tower claim to have seen two boys in period clothing, wandering the halls holding hands or cowering in fear. There is even a photograph in existence that caught the reflection of a young boy in a display case when there were no children in the room. Number 12. Elizabeth Bathory, the Blood Countess. The Blood Countess Elizabeth Bathory is one of the most prolific serial killers of all time. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, she is the Hungarian noblewoman who is accused of killing upwards of 600 young women, so she could bathe and drink their blood to preserve her youth. Whether or not she committed these crimes, they imprisoned her anyway, locked away in Countess Castle until her death in 1614. Her soul supposedly still resides there today. Those who visit the castle have claimed to see her walking about. The only thing she is missing is her face. When walking around the property, in certain places you can even hear whispers and voices that may belong to the Countess herself. Number 11. Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow, criminal couple. Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow are two of the most notorious outlaws of the 20th century. This bank-robbing couple wreaked havoc across multiple states and were in and out of jail multiple times. Their crime spree came to an explosive end when a police posse ambushed the couple and another gang member in May of 1934. The violent shootout resulted in each of them being shot over 50 times each, and their funerals drew thousands of people. The nature of their deaths would lead some to believe that their souls have some unfinished business before they move on to the afterlife. The spirits of the couple still haunt the VIII Ford death car in which they were shot, as well as the woods surrounding the ambush site. Bonnie's ghost even makes appearances at the Baker Hotel in Mineral Wells, Texas, as the couple stayed here during their crime rampage. Number 10. Marie Antoinette, the Last Queen. One of the most infamous figures in world history is Marie Antoinette, the last queen of France before the French Revolution. She lived a luxurious and decadent lifestyle while people starved in the streets of Paris. The residents of France soon tired of the government, her husband, and eventually of Marie herself. The abolishment of the monarchy in 1792 put Marie and her husband Louis XVI in hot water. The following year the couple was executed and nearly forgotten. Despite her violent demise, Marie has remained an iconic symbol over the last 200 years. The ghosts of Marie and Louis are said to haunt their former home of Versailles. In her bedroom, you can feel cold spots and unexplained mists. Sometimes furniture moves on its own or glasses break for no reason. Number 9. James Dean, 1950s heartthrob. One of the hunkiest actors of his time, James Dean was a household name in the 1950s. His roles in East of Eden and Rebel Without a Cause earned him a place in the hearts of teenage girls everywhere. When a deadly car accident took his life on September 30, 1955, it devastated fans the world over. Since his death, his ghost has been seen in different locations, but the one place people see him most is his burial site at Park Cemetery in Indiana. Many claim to have seen him sitting on top of his gravestone or feel cold spots near the grave during the summer. Legend also says that if you leave an unlit cigarette at his grave and walk away, when you return you will find it has been lit and smoke is in the air. Number 8. Walt Disney, animation revolutionary. Walt Disney revolutionized the animation industry and children's entertainment in the 1950s. During his life, he gave the world endless smiles and laughter with the development of Disneyland, and its iconic character, Mickey Mouse. Though he died of lung cancer in 1966, his legacy did not, and park officials claim his spirit didn't either. Walt had an apartment above Main Street in Disneyland, located above the fire station. A light is always left on in Walt's apartment. This tradition started when a worker turned the light out one night while closing, and when she returned the light was back on. She even heard a voice whisper, "I'm still here." Since then, the light has always been left burning for Walt. Number 7. Elizabeth I, the Virgin Queen. One of the most prolific rulers in the history of the world was Elizabeth I of England. She accomplished many things during her reign as queen. Her rule was so successful that it is often referred to as the Golden Age, though history now remembers her fondly. Her life had a rough beginning, between her father executing her mother, being removed from the line of succession multiple times, and being locked in the Tower of London. She had a rough road to the throne. Elizabeth died over 500 years ago, but her descendants say she still walks among them. Her spirit walks to the library in Windsor Castle and floats down the halls. She really likes to appear to her family members as well. The father of England's current monarch claimed to have seen his ancestor 8 times in a row upon the outbreak of World War II. Number 6. Elvis Presley, the King. The King of Rock and Roll is one of the most popular spirits that people continue to see. Famous for his deep voice, handsome face and swiveling hips, Elvis is one of the best-selling music artists of all time. Many people claim to see Elvis' ghost in many different places, but the main place that he is frequently seen is Graceland. Elvis' home in Memphis is a hotbed of activity when it comes to the king. His image has been caught on film and reflective surfaces, and there is supposed video footage that exists as well. There have been hundreds of Elvis sightings in the 40 years since his death, so many in fact that there are those who believe that he isn't really dead. Number 5. Marilyn Monroe, iconic actress. Actress, model, icon, all of these words can be used to describe Marilyn Monroe, also known as Norma Jean Baker. She starred in films such as Gentlemen Prefer Blondes and The 7-Year Itch. Playboy magazine even used her photo as the centerfold for their first issue. Her life in front of the cameras wasn't all glitz and glam as she went through 3 divorces, miscarriages, and conflicts with her studios. She died young of a barbiturate overdose in 1962, and since then her ghost has been seen numerous places. One of the most common places patrons interact with Marilyn is the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. The room she stayed in experiences cold spots. Some of the hotel staff have seen her image in the mirror a time or two when cleaning it. If you want to get up close and personal with the blonde bombshell herself, you can book her old room in the Roosevelt and stay a night. Number 4. Henry VIII, the Temperamental King. King Henry VIII is one of the most recognizable figures from the Tudor dynasty. He beheaded 2 of his wives, divorced 2 and died before he could get rid of his last wife. Henry changed the political and cultural landscape of England in a way that shaped the country for years to follow. When he died at a relatively young age, most assumed the temperamental ruler was gone for good. Turns out that he still resides in Windsor Castle alongside other famous British rulers. His apparition stomps up and down hallways and even shouts every so often, as he still clearly harbors some anger from his lifetime, so most try to steer clear of his hot-tempered spirit. Number 3. Abraham Lincoln, Civil War President. On April 15, 1865, the fate of the United States changed forever with the death of Abraham Lincoln. Southern sympathizer John Wilkes Booth assassinated Lincoln following the end of the Civil War. The spirit of the 16th president reportedly still inhabits the halls of the White House. The wife of President Calvin Coolidge was the first to see Lincoln's ghost, standing in the Oval Office looking out of the window. His spirit became active again a century later during FDR's presidency. Eleanor Roosevelt claimed to feel his presence in her study while she worked there. Even famous visitors to the White House like Winston Churchill have seen him. Lincoln reportedly surprised Churchill when he got out of his evening bath. Number 2. Benjamin Franklin, Founding Father. Ben Franklin is one of the most significant figures in American history. As a writer, inventor and founding father, Franklin's legacy is almost anywhere you look. He wore many different hats during his lifetime, and as such his spirit has been seen in various locations. Philadelphia, the city most closely associated with Franklin, is the most likely place you might see his ghost. People have seen him strolling the streets from time to time, and one woman claimed he had knocked her over while she was in the American Philosophical Society library. Old Ben also appears to have a sense of humor, as he is said to possess the statue of himself that is outside the American Philosophical Society and go dancing in the streets. Number 1. Anne Boleyn, the discarded queen. Beheaded in 1536 by her angry husband, Henry VIII, Queen Anne Boleyn clearly met a violent end. Scholars say that she may have actually been innocent of the charges Henry brought against her. If this is the case, it would make sense that her soul could not rest peacefully. As such, she has been seen in various places across England. She wanders past the Queen's house near where she was executed, and has appeared to be leading a procession of nobles across the Tower of London. She also appears at her childhood home of Hever Castle around Christmas time, and visits Rochford Castle where she and Henry first met. Some who have seen her claim that she also likes to ride around in a carriage, holding her severed head in her lap just like her niece, the Lady Jane Grey.